How's it going? We are Scenic Route to Alaska, and you're watching the AU Review.
Welcome to Australia, guys.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Is this your first Australian tour?
It is our first Australian tour. Hopefully many to come. But
So what have you guys been up to so far?
well, so far we spent the first 4 days that we were here in Cronulla as part of Australian Music Week. So we got to showcase twice down there to a bunch of Australian industry professionals and other people from around the world, and got to check out some cool music. So so far it's been a really good time.
Have what Australian artists have you guys been listening to or checked out?
Been listening to Letters to Lions, but we didn't get a chance to check them out. We wanted to see them at Hi-Fi Days yesterday, but it unfortunately got canceled due to weather, which was quite a bummer. But
that happens a lot in Australia, so
yeah. And we've been pretty busy playing, so we've actually, all the showcases we've done have been with a lot of other Canadian artists as well. So it's actually been kind of ironic that it takes going across the world to see some other Canadians, but it's been a great opportunity to do that.
Well, that's what we're here for, right? The Canada Down Under showcase.
Yeah.
So far, what's the reaction been when you tell people you're Canadian?
So far, I think it's usually met with pretty good. People seem to like Canadians, so that's good. People have been pretty nice to us, and I don't know, as far as the music goes, I think Australians and Canadians, as far as bands go, there's a lot of similarities and I feel like a lot of different genres, but everyone kind of has the same vibe. We've met nothing but nice people, and especially the other bands. So it's been good.
So you guys are sort of having to set the example though of what Canadians are to the Australians.
I think actually a lot of Australians have been to Canada way more so than we've toured Europe a few times, and like in Germany it seems like almost nobody's been to Canada, but in Australia like everyone's been to Banff or Whistler. Like, are
you guys from BC or
Edmonton, Alberta?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what's it like having to break into an international audience again?
It's fun. It's a challenge, and like anything, it takes quite a bit of commitment to come down here. It's a pretty far journey for us, but it's always kind of nice. It lights that fire back underneath you because you have something to prove, and you've got every time we hit the stage, we might as well leave it all up there because it's a pretty long journey back home. So we don't want to regret anything while we're here, and yeah, it's been good. It's also just nice because coming from Canada, and Murray was saying we've toured over in Europe a couple times in the last couple of years, so getting a little bit less nervous and a little bit more used to the coming into a new place and presenting ourselves and showcasing ourselves. But over here, it's just mixed in with the nice hot sun. It's just been nothing but good vibes and so much energy.
How brutal is the flight, though? I feel like you have to take advantage of the free drinks, otherwise. Right? How did you sleep?
I didn't find it to be that bad this time, actually. We were in Toronto before this, so we flew Toronto, Vancouver, Sydney.
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
23, I think it's 23 and a half hours.
Including layover, it's a whole day.
I don't know. I didn't have such a bad time. I don't really know why.
Free drinks.
We kind of free drinks.
We kind of beat ourselves up with a little bit of a tour that we were doing in Toronto right before we came over here. So we were kind of ready for the rest anyway. So to sit around for 20 hours really wasn't that bad at that time.
Sorry.
No, I was going to say I actually slept for the first time on a plane ride. I've never been able to do that. And it's
really?
I think it's what Shay was saying. We kind of wore ourselves down in the east coast of Canada, and then I probably slept 4 hours on the plane and watched a couple movies, some free drinks.
And then, 6 movies.
Six movies, and then wake up ready to go.
I have to bring one of those pillows, those embarrassing pillows.
That's the best thing that I've bought in the last year. We all bought I don't know how much it would cost here, but it's $40-50 in Canada. And
the deluxe version.
Yeah, the mask. We look like full on tourists. I've got my camera around my neck. It's pretty good.
It's so worth it, though. You have to, right?
Yeah, you got it.
So speaking of touring, what is, and this might be relevant to the last conversation we were having off camera, what's your most not safe for work, but maybe safe for camera tour story?
Oh.
There's got to be a couple.
There's definitely, that's the hard part. There's definitely a couple. Depends on which route we want to go. I mean, we've had some great experiences.
The route to Alaska.
The route to Alaska. One of the weirdest things, or funniest things happened in Canada actually in a place called is it in Sudbury, right? The townhouse in Sudbury. We slept. There's a band apartment underneath the venue, so you play there, and then they let you stay underneath there for free as well.
They have it here, but you're upstairs usually.
Exactly, yeah, and those in band houses are usually kind of known for being a little bit what we call greasy back home. I'm not sure if that's what you say.
We'll get to that in a second.
So it's a bit greasy, and we actually ended up opening for a band who was playing. It was the Who cover band, and the whole thing was just kind of an accident. Some things That's not usually what we're doing in Canada these days. But so we just thought we would roll with the punches, have a couple drinks, and then we went downstairs to go to sleep. And it was kind of like, unfortunately, what you'd call a crack den. It seemed like. And so we woke up in the morning, and I looked over at Murray, and right above his head where he was sleeping was a sign that said, "Mikey got crabs here," with an arrow pointing right down on his head.
And did you?
And did you get crabs, Murray?
I am crabs free, for the record. No crabs.
I mean, that's just that's not that bad or that insane, but I guess there's a handful of things like that, so it's hard to choose.
Yeah. Okay, I feel like we should talk about your music.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about music.
So your last album came out, Long Walk Home, last year. So you have a new single out called Slow Down. Want to tell us about that? Maybe inspo behind it? Anything?
Yeah, well, it was the first time. Long Walk Home was a lot about, like, I'd been just out of a relationship, so a lot of it was kind of this new, got the rest of my life to figure out what I want to do, and then also you get those feelings of longing for that person and stuff like that. So it had a bit of that theme, and then since then it's been about, I guess, 2.5 years since I wrote most of the songs that were on Long Walk Home. So there's been a bigger chunk of time where it's kind of been more about just hitting the ground running. We've been touring so hard and really laying it all out there. And when it came time to write the songs, I realized that I hadn't really, hadn't fallen in love or had anyone break my heart, and no one in my family or close to me had really passed away. So I didn't. And those
no more material.
Those are the things I've usually written about. So it was an opportunity to write about, I guess, really what was going on in the moment. And at that moment, Slow Down, I wrote about just like, getting home off of a flight and just feeling kind of totally messed up and not really knowing what had happened in the last 2 weeks, because sometimes when we're on the road, you just go and you go and you go and you go.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun and it's beautiful in the moment, but you get home and it hits you like a brick wall. So Slow Down is, take a breath and slow down is kind of like the chorus, and that's I think I was more so just preaching to myself and what I should probably try to do every now and then. Even when it comes to talking, I'm sure you can tell I like to speak very fast. So.
Well, we can fit it all in this way, right?
Exactly.
So you guys grew up together. Does that create drama on the road, or does it? What's the dynamic because of that?
Essentially, we're kind of like brothers at this point, and we did grow up together, and we can really like fight and bicker on the road, but at the end of the day, it's you can just be in your little quiet place in your section of the van, and then 2 hours later, you're all best friends playing the show again, and I don't know, it's it's a unique relationship. We live together back home as well, which is so we get off tour, and we'll get off our 24-hour flight going home, and then we'll go home with each other, and we'll wake up with each other again, even though it's it's been weeks on the road, but sure,
no
like
crabs though.
I guess
no crab.
No crabs. So but it's we got a unique dynamic, and we're besties. We get along super well. We have a lot of fun on the road, and we have a lot of fun at home too. So
yeah.
So I haven't been able to talk to anyone about this because as a Canadian, no one here cares. So Gordon Downey just died, and Mr. Leahy from Trailer Park Boys, you just referenced.
I know.
They died. How do we feel about that?
It's devastating. For Gord Downey, he was such a huge inspiration for a ton of, all of my friends and bands that we look up to and ourselves too. It's just he wrote so many songs that are so hit so close to home for Canadians, and so I think that's a huge loss. And then it's a bit different. Mr. Leahy also, I actually don't know his
real name.
Full real name. But we're huge Trailer Park Boys fans. And the guy was an incredible actor. I know, like the fact that he wasn't actually drunk the whole time is a mind-blowing thing. To act like that takes talent.
At one point, he actually came into our high school, and he apparently, I remember all the kids were like, "Mr. Leahy's here, and he's wasted," and we were like, "You got to be kidding me!" And he was just walking down the hallway like he was so drunk in our high school. As such a great influence.
In character.
But he was totally in character. He was never drunk.
He used to hang out in my hometown, and there was like a local bar they'd always go to. So
oh no way.
I guess it depends.
Maybe he actually might have been a little.
And for people who are listening, Gordon Downey's from Tragically Hip, a Canadian band, and he just passed away as well. Okay, so let's end about you guys. Do you have a new album coming out? What's happening next?
We do, yeah. So we've got a new album that's going to be coming out in February 2018, and it's Slow Down will be on that album. Okay. And we're also going to release another the lead single off of that probably in January. So people can keep their ears and eyes open for that. We're really excited. I think the record is more. Things are still moving up in a more mature way. The songs are getting. We all think they're getting cooler and better and more fun to play live.
Hopefully.
And, hopefully, So I think we're all really proud of it. We did it in Vancouver, BC with Howard Redicop. He produced it, and he did our last record, Long Walk Home, but he did Tegan and Sarah and Mother and 5440. I'm not sure how many bands that would have
the new
pornographers.
That's a big one.
I'm not sure how many of them came over here and toured Australia, so I don't know how relevant that is down here, but
I know who they are.
Yeah, he's got a great repertoire, and he's a professional, and it was just a great pleasure to work with him. And sonically, it sounds really cool. So I'm excited. We're so excited to get people to hear it.
So are we now.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks for chatting with us, guys.
Thanks for having us.
See you tonight.
Yeah, sounds
cheers.
good.
Thanks.